What's up? What's up? What's good, people? This your boy Scott Lewis, Apartment Gamer and more here with another Brooklyn Nets Stoop Edition. What's good? Hope everybody's having a good time. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Michael MPJ for the Brooklyn Nets. Trying to get this stuff together here. All right, there you go. What's good people? All right, let me talk a little bit about the headline, Michael Porter Jr. Let me talk a little bit about his history. Um, Michael Porter Jr. was a coveted high school player, right? And Porter is one of 8 siblings, and his mother played college basketball at Iowa. So his father played at University of New Orleans and is an assistant coach for the University of Missouri. Michael Porter Jr. was like a phenom at high school. He was coveted. He was projected to be in the top three. 2017. Porter has a successful high school career beginning in Columbia, Missouri. So where he led his high school, Tolton, to a 26-3 record. Um, School first state title in 54 years during his junior season. He was coached by Brandon Roy. During his senior season in high school, Porter was, coached by Brandon Roy, and Porter averaged 36.2 points a game as he also Washington Class 3A state champion. Porter continued to keep his close contact with Roy. He struggles through his injury. He got injured in high school, and that's what made his value come down during the draft. He was picked 14th by Denver. I believe it was 14th. Let me check and see. Who number projected to be a number one pick, and college cut short after originally committing to Washington. Porter joined his father in Missouri, where he played 3 games during his freshman season. He also, Porter injured his back in his first game of the 2017-2018 season and had surgery, which probably benefited him. Not that he hurt his back, but mainly that he got hurt early, where we seen Simmons get hurt during the season while he was in the NBA, his back. So they gave him time. His first year at Denver, he didn't really play. He didn't play. So that gave him time to heal. He was young enough to heal. This is 2017, 2018. So that benefit him getting hurt early. I wouldn't say, getting your back hurt at at that early age was a blessing in some kind of way, because apparently this season his back has not been an issue. So, Porter also was the number one pick from a freshman season. Even leading up to the draft, Porter's stocks took a hit, of course. That's pretty much it. I mean, he had gotta remember he won a title with Denver. He was All-American. He was McDonald's All-American. He was coveted at high school. So, I mean, he had great skills coming out of high school, really did. And it's showing during his career, even though he had spotty career when, injury is part of the NBA. Not everybody, it's Mikal Bridges can play every game, So That being said, we got here John, everything BK, Nets,
Hey
and
Scott.
Leaf. What's up, John? And we got
Hey,
Leaf in the house. What's up,
yeah,
Leaf?
good to be here. I think me and Leaf are going to touch on some points we talked about last night on Breezy. So listen, MPJ, it's been a great month. It's been for him historic numbers for his career so far in a month. I mean, let's check the stats right now. He's averaging 25.8 points, which is 13th in the NBA right now. He's at 7.6 rebounds, which is 31st in the NBA. That's good. It's been one of his strengths of his game. This is a good stat for him. He's averaging 3.2 assists, which is 81st. Like that was one of his biggest weaknesses, which I think was like 1 point something. So to even have that be in a top 100 category, I'll give it to MPJ. The assist numbers have been improving somewhat. And then 49.6% field goal, 48th in the NBA, and he's shooting 39.2 from three. Listen, I think MPJ has done well with Jordy. Their relationship, you've definitely seen Jordy in the last month set up the offense around MPJ since Cam went out. But the biggest key was starting Noah Clowney at the four, which allowed MPJ to shift to the three, protect his health, to protect the back. Claxton, his numbers on playmaking have gone up because a lot of his assists come from feeding MPJ a lot of shots. So that move that Jordy made starting Clowney really opened up MPJ's game. And I think the Nets have a lot of optionality with MPJ's career right now. They can choose to trade him this upcoming deadline, which starts in less than 3 days. Big business picking up. We know about all the rumors with Giannis, AD, and whatnot. And MPJ, I definitely think, has put himself in the category. Like, listen, he's making 38 to 39 million this season. His numbers are all-star worthy numbers. And I think for the Nets, right now you have 5 rookies you drafted. If Yegor, Wolf, and Powell can be rotation guys at the end of the season, that's great for development, great for their trajectories. If Noah Clowney has a great middle finish to the season, great for him and having a career year that he needs to have to validate potentially get a contract extension. You have a young core to work with. I think the interesting thing with MPJ and Claxton right now is that both their values are the highest it's been in both their careers right now. And for MPJ, he is a former champion. He knows how to be a legit third option. Being a temporary top option, you're seeing a lot of the offense be run through MPJ. That's fine. My thing is this: is it feasible? Can the Nets see themselves doing this with MPJ in the next 2 to 3 years? Me, Leaf, and some others have a lot of question marks about that because one, the back health. He said on a podcast before this season started, I'm considering semi-retirement, but I'm taking this year by year. The preparation, the work I put on my back takes a lot out of me. But if I feel like I'm good enough to compete, I'm going to go out there and give my best. He's done that. He's put the Nets in a great position where there might be a team or two looking at him on the trade deadline, realizing I might have to give up some valuable picks, might have to give up a young player, some expiring salary. If I have a chance to win a title and MPJ could be that third option, why not consider it? I think for the Brooklyn Nets, if you want to keep MPJ and Claxton to be the leaders going to next year with your young core, okay. But is that feasible to win in the future? I don't think so. I think for the Nets, if you could turn Claxton and maybe MPJ into expiring salary, some young players, and multiple picks, you're going to next year not owing anybody money. You have a full cap book of space that you can use whenever you feel like it. You let your rookies develop. You see what Clowney could do to build off this year, and the Nets pretty much have everything at their disposal to build a winning team. I know a lot of people are scared of that because they're desperate for any talent whatsoever, but you have to ask yourself, is MPJ feasible as a top option for the next 2, 3 years as he goes to his 30s? Is Nick Claxton going to replicate a career year where offensively he's showing you some things, but still defensively he's not playing like no defensive player of the year? So I understand why Nets fans would want to keep these two around. But I think this is what the organization has put themselves in a good position. You have a chance to move these guys for some assets. You have a chance to let your core get even more developmental minutes, and you have a chance to draft a top 4 franchise guy next year. I think for the Brooklyn Nets and the base, we can actually have a chance to go into next summer with multiple assets, multiple ways of building up a winning team. But if you keep these two vets making $60 million a your cap book and you don't get a top 4 pick next year, are the Nets really going to compete for anything? Or are we just competing to be the next Chicago Bulls of the Eastern Conference? And that's what I
Yeah.
think a lot of people have to ask themselves right now.
What's up, Leaf? What you think?
And I passed the ball to Leaf on that one.
I think MPJ is playing very well. 25-8 on his back history and his all of his injury history is nothing to shy away from. I might add that he's top 5 in percentage in field goal percentage in the paint. top five in contested shots outside of the paint. Top five in contested buckets inside of the paint. And field goal percentage. He's playing out of his mind right now. I think he's definitely handled it well. I think he's definitely meeting the X and O's and a lot of the sparks that Jordy likes to run. He's familiar with that, being in Denver with Jordy and playing through that system when they had Joker when Jordy was one of the assistant coaches over there. Um, I think
Yeah.
this is one of his better seasons. The fact that he can get an All Star nod this season will definitely up his price for another contract.
Yeah.
However, however, the Nets have to ask themselves, do they want to be a part of that? Now, in terms of his skill set, I don't think, and if we just looking at skill set, I think MPJ in terms of motion off the ball, shoot, or catch and shoot, motion shots, and off balance shooting. Outside of Steph, I think he's one of the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like with my own
Yeah.
two eyes, bro. And I can say that. I mean, in terms of motion shooting, I don't think this dude gives a shit who's in front of him at 6'10". And we
Yeah.
talking about somebody that played last year. He couldn't even lift his left arm,
Right. Right.
let alone sit properly, bro. Like, and he managed to get finish a run with the Denver Nuggets. Went 7 games with the eventual champions of the NBA and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Right. Right.
But I think Clax has gotten new life. Filling up the stat sheet across the board. His field goal percentage is higher. His free throw percentage is higher.
Yeah.
A lot of open opportunities for him. A lot of opportunities with the ball. Rebounding and assists is higher. Um, this is arguably the best that Claxton has ever played in his life, ever.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think if you get any higher than this, then hell, you might as well keep Claxton, bro. Like at that point, but I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
at this point, bro, I think Claxton has pretty much maxed out his offensive ability. Defensively, he can still block shots. He can still do some things. I mean,
Right.
he's more energized now that a lot of the offense is running through him and MPJ first, and with the first action with the dribble handoff action. However, if the Nets have to really come to the crossroad whether this rebuild is officially done or they have one more piece to go into for the draft. If that is the case, then you can continue on in what you're doing, but at the same time, you got the Giannis cloud looming over because Giannis just put 14 million in prospect in Brooklyn,
He's also
and
having some type of event in Flatbush I think when we face the Bucks or something. I just saw a post about that. So
Mhm.
listen, whatever game is being played here with Giannis, it's either us or the Knicks. Just make a decision soon because I don't want to be second place in these shenanigans because we all kind of know he wants to be in New York, but make a choice soon. If you want to come to us, at least we have a secondary star in MPJ who knows how to do his role in the team. If you go play with Brunson's not going to help Giannis defensively. He could offensively shoot the ball, but we saw in the playoffs against the Pacers last year, Brunson, man, against bigger players, he does nothing against them on the defensive end. So Giannis,
well,
as much as he wants to go potentially to the Knicks have to give up at least 1 to 2 core pieces. Everybody's saying Towns and a Kolick or McBride and some crappy picks. No, if you're going to give me crappy picks and one of those guys, I need at least a secondary core member of your team, whether it's an OG or Bridges, before I consider trading a top three superstar in the NBA. So if
it's
that's what Giannis wants to do, you end their window very soon, which benefits us. But Giannis, if you come to the Nets like Leaf and me was talking about, you have MPJ as a second or third star. You have Danny Wolf, a point center, someone we've never had on the Brooklyn Nets who can run offense, take the playmaking responsibilities away from Giannis, where he can just be a bully ball player and MPJ can knock down 3 point shots. Like, it's not perfect, but it would be something there to build with in a weak Eastern Conference at least. But everything that's
What
looking
would
like
the Nets had to give up then? What would the
That's
Nets?
and I think
That's
that's the looming. I think that's the
some
looming
lumen.
question and the
Yeah.
looming cloud. That's probably the biggest question mark with the Nets because I feel like whoever trade between the two. Now that Giannis is officially in New York because he put 14 million. Don't nobody put $14 million in Brooklyn, bro. They not ready to come
yeah,
here. So
right.
I mean that's a fact. That's number one. So between the Knicks and the Nets, it's about what would it cost? Not only what would it cost, but who has more to lose. And I think the Knicks probably have more to lose because the timetable. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I think the timetable for them to win a championship or to compete for a championship,
It's now.
realistically is now and last year now and this year, I
Next year.
guess,
Next year too.
and with all the money that they have on the books. But the reality of these trades is now with this new CBA, money has to match. And with teams like Milwaukee looking to basically, do it over and reset the entire book, they're most likely looking for picks, man. Knock on wood. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And that's where now that Giannis has basically made his move himself by moving to New York, by buying something in New York,
Right.
what happens now it's like, hey, one of these franchises is going to have to really fight and see who's serious about who, because I'm getting more and more word that KD really wanted to go to the Knicks, but they kind of messed that up with Dolan and whatever the situation that they had in 2019 after the Raptors series or whatever, however that went. My point is this: the reality is that Nike athletes are drawn to our team more so than more drawn to our city. But are they drawing more to the Knicks or are they drawing more to the Nets? We'll have to wait and see. The reality is that the Knicks have basically grown. They have basically got their free agents to basically out of thin air and turned Brunson into an all star and into a one of the top guards in the league. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And it did the same thing with Julius Randle and Towns.
Right.
But at the
Right.
and I don't give two damns about what anybody blue and tangerine is doing. But at the same time, you do have to give credit where it's due. But like the thing that we have to do for ourselves is have to realize is that is this Houston pick next year worth? Is it worth going after Giannis now and doing the same thing we did back in 2019, where we basically mortgaged the future and just said, "All right, yo, we going all in because Katie and Kyrie said they wanted to come here."
Right.
Right.
You
And
know what I'm
this is the
saying?
way.
So the reality with Giannis, I don't think Giannis is bringing anybody with him.
That's the
That's
hope.
what I think.
That's the hope his brothers don't come on and trade. But at the end of the day, we might have to maybe supplement that. But here's the thing: with the Brooklyn Nets, it's very interesting. If we get a top four pick next year, I don't care about the Rockets pick. They can have whatever pick they want, because you have a potential chance to have a top franchise guy. And if you do make the move for Giannis and keep that pick, if you get a Dabasa or you could get a Boozer or a Wilson or something like that, you have another young core piece to play with Giannis to actually help Giannis get rest minutes, because we have a young core that could carry their weight around Giannis. It makes his job a lot easier. And this is why the Danny Wolf component we talked about on the show last night, Scott, is that it really will depend on Danny Wolf, because say your backcourt is Yegor and Powell and your front court is MPJ, Giannis, and Wolf. Wolf will be a point center essentially, where Powell and Yegor, they are the backcourt, but they can turn into offensive wings for us, knock down threes, do some interior work. Whereas with Wolf, he can find Giannis for lob threat stuff. Giannis can basically do whatever he wants in the interior, because you're going to have to deal with Wolf coming at you on the interior and Giannis being ready for lob threats. And MPJ, meanwhile, his job will get so easy because he'll just be in the corner ready to launch three after three after three. Because how are you going to guard a Giannis and guard a Danny Wolf coming at you full speed? That would be the intangibles of making Giannis move, is that Danny Wolf would have to be the secondary or third star next to
Yeah,
MPJ and
I
Giannis.
think
So it's a gamble that
I think in order for us to have that
I
possible have
think
that said roster, I think in order for us to have that said roster, we probably might have to play the waiting game more so than anything, because MPJ is looking for another contract after next year,
right.
and we are gonna have money to spend. That's one thing for sure. Two things for certain. So if we really looking to do something, I think it's more so gonna be after in sometime in the off season. Maybe not this off season coming up, but maybe next off season. I don't think Giannis is getting traded in the middle of the season. If he does, it's most likely gonna be to the Knicks because
Right.
I
Mhm.
mean the Knicks have out of everybody in the Eastern Conference, the Knicks have the most televised games. Boston is basically in a recraft year. Indiana's in a recraft year. These are the teams that was in the Knicks' way.
Yeah, you got to echo.
My bad. Hold on.
Yeah.
Nah, but he's making some interesting points, and this is the thing too. The Bucks are going to want
My bad.
valuable picks. What the Nets have over the Knicks is we have a Philly pick, we have a Denver pick, we have multiple Knicks picks. Like what the Bucks would not want are Knicks swap picks. This thing you have to realize they traded all their unprotected picks to us. What they have are pick swaps, which aren't valuable picks, Scott. They're like the worst picks you could give, and you're giving that up for a top three superstar. So if Giannis is dead set on going to the Knicks, they're basically going to be out of all assets. But if he comes to us, we could supplement some of the players we have to give up, like let's say a Zaire, a Terrence Mann, a Claxton. They might want to get rid of Miles Turner if they're going to go into a full-on rebuild. And the thing about getting Claxton on their team is he's not making a lot of money the next 2 years. His salary goes down to 23 and 20 mil, which is not a lot of money on the books cap space. And then Terrence Mann, that contract goes in 2 years. Zaire, he's only making $6 million. And if we have to add a Seraph, a Nolan, or even a Clowney, plus those picks, we could have a core of Wolf, Yegor, Powell, Giannis, and MPJ, which at this point you could go with. But this is the thing that we're talking about here. If you're going to keep MPJ, if his value is the highest it is right now, you have to get some type of star piece around him, whether it's in the draft or on the market, because this guy will be 30 in 2 years. And like Leaf said, if he keeps this up somehow, he's going to want big money. But this is the thing. I don't think he will. Like, as much as it's been good to see this guy do it for a month, it's been for a month off of 3 back surgeries. Like, people got to realize you cannot kill this man to be your top option because you're desperate for talent. That's why getting a Giannis would make a lot more sense, because at least you're preserving your second option, not killing him in the ground, keeping him, and for us being a mediocre playing team next 2 to 3 years. Because if you keep Claxton and MPJ, they're going to be in their 30s very soon, and that's not a success for formula. You need a franchise guy of some sort, whether that's in the draft, top 4 next year, or you go after a big star like a Giannis or hell, a Donovan Mitchell. The Nets have to commit to some type of winning direction after this year is up, because there's no way to justify keeping MPJ or Clax unless you think you can contend very soon in a very weak East. And we're seeing Boston without Tatum right now beat Detroit and the
Yeah, yeah. It
Knicks
it's
back to back.
it
So it's
seems
like
to
the
me.
East is that
Yeah,
value for MPJ.
yeah, yeah. The East is
Yeah, shit was
open,
jumping,
so
but to speak on Boston, we got to remember that they got somebody averaging 29, 6 and 6, and that's Jalen Brown, who just so happens to be a
Right.
Finals MVP.
Right.
You know, so I mean, the reality of not having Jason Tatum is not something that they're necessarily worried about. They're still competing. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, the Boston thing. I think they was going to be at minimum 6 or 7. But it seemed like they might could be able to finish maybe 5, the
and
highest,
and
bro.
out
Like
of the
I mean, that's
lottery,
not
and
going to be a
out of
team
the
that's going to get in the
lottery.
way.
That's
But
amazing. That's
as in
amazing to
terms
not
of that
miss
draft
lottery.
pick, we are moving further and further away from a top 4, top 5 pick than anything. And the reason being is not just because of the way we're playing; it's because of everything that's surrounding us in terms of the trade rumors, in terms of whether it's the trade rumors for Giannis, whether it's trade rumors for MPJ, whether it's the trade rumors for Clax. It's a lot of things that's moving us away from that. You know what I'm saying? So I've pretty much given up on the draft.
right.
I think me
I'm definitely
personally,
not.
bro. Like, if you
Mhm.
really want to, take the youth in the draft seriously, take it seriously right now with Danny Wolf and all the other players that you drafted this year.
I understand and agree. That's why if you're not going after no big fish right now or next summer, the best thing you can do is trade
John, your
Claxton.
mic is low.
Wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
The best thing you can do if you're not going after no big star in the near future is you trade MPJ and Clax for multiple assets and you move forward with a very young core. This is the thing right now. I heard a team like the Clippers might be very desperate right now to add some type of firepower next to James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, because they have no reason to tank. And even if they want to give up, there's no real serious trade value for Kawhi Leonard and Harden. What more can you get back for only one guy on the team? So if they want to at least crawl out of the bottom to be a playing team, trading some expiring contracts and a first round pick to us for MPJ. And that at least allows the Clippers to maybe make a playing spot, which would be great for everybody, because if they're out of the lottery, we actually have a legit shot at this. And if we trade Claxton to Boston so they could stay out of the lottery, I'd be totally fine with this. If I could swap Claxton, MPJ to Boston and the Clippers, and OKC and Celtics are out of this lottery, we are literally the only rich franchise in a bottom barrel of this lottery. And that to me gives us our best chance to still have a top 5 pick or no less a top 6 pick. And those are the odds I'm willing to take. If you're not going to give me no starter play with the Michael Porter Jr., there's no reason to keep him for the next 2 to 3 years to be a mediocre playing team and overpay him. And God forbid his back goes out. Like that would just destroy whatever we're trying to build right now. Just like Leaf's saying, you have a coach that wants to win so badly. You have Yegor Palin-Wolf, 3 out of 5 year guys who might be rotation guys by the end of this first season, and you have a whole bunch of cap space if you get off of MPJ and Claxton, and you still have over 31 picks to operate with. I know people who are scared of getting rid of Claxton and MPJ because they think we'll go backwards, but actually we're going to move forward because we have a bigger shot at a top 5 franchise guy, and we'll have multiple cap space and multiple picks that nobody in the East will have to actually build a winning team. People got to realize that, Scott. I think they're just scared that if we get rid of these two guys, that we're just going to go all the way backwards. But look how wide the East is right now. Maybe the Nets actually will go forward because they'll actually have multiple flexibility and have no money committed to guys that might not help us get anywhere anytime
Well,
soon.
I
Yeah.
think the Nets can go
Go
forward, but I don't think we're gonna go forward with a total youth movement. Remember, we're the youngest team in the league. We get rid of MPJ and Claxton right now, then we're going for all time young. That's what we're
We could,
going
but
for
we could
because
find
it.
vets to help them move forward, though. That's my thing, Leave. You could find vets with all this cap space on cheap deals. This is what Sean Mark's problem last few years was: is he was overpaying role players he didn't have to overpay. Find cheap vets that actually help build winning habits and will push these rookies in their second year and by their third year. Honestly, by their third year, that's when the Nets realistically should be contending for something because they'll be in the league 3 years. They'll have a lot of development under their wings, and if you have the right vets in their ears, I'm not talking about Tyrese Martin, Terrence Mann, Jalen Wilson, actual vets who have been to finals, maybe have won, or they've been in the thick of it. Those are the
Well,
vets you get to be on this team if you trade MPJ and Claxton. That's what I'm trying to say, and that's not a
well,
bad way to
that
move forward either.
basically what you just described is MPJ. The only thing is, you got a problem with him making $40 million. You
That's a
just
big
well,
described
problem.
MPJ
well,
basically when you said vets that's been to finals
you
and
do
in
got
the
to
championships.
you
You
do
basically that's basically
But
what you
he's
just
not a
described,
mentor
John.
that
do
can help
do
push the
but
rookies forward because he's a big part of it.
but
He's a
do
big part of
you
the.
you do
Well,
have
if you're
to.
looking for vets that could push rookies forward, bro, with them making basically less money than the rookies, or just around the same amount of money as the rookies, basically, bro, what you're asking for is for us to disengage from the CBA. That is called a fine. We have to pay
Right.
somebody.
You can't do that. Right. Yeah.
It prevents you from not from the people that don't want to spend money, like the Nets, like our front office,
You got
because we're
bad
the
echo.
lowest,
You
because we
got
got the lowest bill.
you got a bad echo. Yeah, real bad.
Hold up.
Yeah, it's picking up something.
It's on John. Meet your mic. Like, yeah. So the thing is, bro, like the reality about this is that the NBA is not allowing teams to just hold out on not paying players or take the like. If we didn't pick up the MPJ contract, we would be getting fined. We
Yeah.
would be
You got to
getting
spend.
fined
You got
because you
to.
have to spend a certain amount of money. That's the
Yeah, you.
CBA demands that.
Yeah,
You know what
you
I'm
got to
saying?
fill out the roster.
The player that John described is on our team right now. The
Yeah.
problem is he just doesn't like the role that he's in. The role that he's in right now is basically grooming somebody. It looks to me like he's grooming somebody, one of the rookies, to be in that role sooner than later.
And
And
that should be Danny Wolf right now because he's showing the most aggression. And people keep saying that Claxton's a point center. Leaf, you and I we really hope biting our tongue on this one because Claxton is not a point center. Beating MPJ 7 to 6 assist shots doesn't make him a point center. What Danny Wolf does is a point center. A guy that can.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a
Mhm.
question. Danny Wolf is a good player. As we see him progressing to be a great player. Right now, as of right today, is Clowney better than Danny Wolf?
no,
Uh, Not as a playmaker, not at all. He's a little
Not
better
at all.
offensively, but
No.
look
All
at
right.
Danny Wolf actually can run offense. Every time Danny Wolf's been in the second unit, you see him running things. Clowney doesn't run things. He finds a better chances of getting into the interior to make free throws. His defense is a huge weakness. I get Danny Wolf's defense isn't worldly, but it's been better on effort. What we've seen in the last few games, he gets some block shots, he gets some rebounds, he's active. He looks like he's in better condition than he was this past summer. I think that's what people got to realize is that Danny Wolf is ahead of schedule because he got the mindset before he stepped foot in preseason. I think he realized, listen, I got to earn my shot and I got to make sure I don't go back to no damn G League. And he's shown that so far. Listen, we have high expectations for Danny Wolf, Scott, because he's a senior on this team. He was in college for four
So you
years. So the
see,
bar
you
is high for him right now.
so you see Danny Wolf as an all star or a potential
I
all
see him
star.
building. I see him building into one if he gets a starting position on his team. But if you're telling me that Claxton's going to replicate triple doubles
No,
as he goes
I ain't
21,
worried about
30, I'm
Clax.
not on that.
No, no, Clax is who we know who Clax is. I'm talking about Clowney as far as his role on this team because
Clowney's role is the spot up the shoot, occasional dribble drive, pump fake drive, get back, help on the rebounds, even though he doesn't really get them, and be aggressive more offensively, be more space the floor basically. I like Clowney addition to this lineup at the four is really more so helping MPJ. That's what it's really helping. What it
Right.
does is it kind of it puts Danny Wolf basically on a slower scale, which I'm okay with at the moment, but at the same time the tankers are not because the thing is the tankers want Danny Wolf, Drake Powell, and Yegor in the lineup right away, so we could do this tank properly. Because guess what?
Right.
Because well, we could do this tank quote unquote properly. Because guess what? When the NBA tells you not to tank, and then other teams tank, and then they don't get fined for it, and then we start to do it, and then we get fined for it. That means that means the NBA is watching us because either one, we too big of a market to be tanking, or whatever the case may be. I just made that shit up in
that
my head.
no, well, listen, that might be a legitimate reason because you
That
got
might be a legitimate reason. I don't
It's
because
think the
it,
NBA is looking for us
because
to tank because we too big of a market.
right.
it's not a reason. If you play three of those words, here's the
Why
thing:
it's not?
Jaeger Powell, and Wolf have all looked competent, and they're learning how to build their roles on this team. We've rarely seen this from rookies, especially on a team that's rebuilding, to get it like they're getting it right now. Like they've actually worked on weaknesses and are getting better with just getting actual minutes on the court. That's not getting a fine to tank. Listen, this is what Jordy's problem is. When you were playing the Tyrese Smart and Terrence Mann, the basketball was ridiculous. Perfect for a tank, sure, but you were not developing your future. And if you
Yeah,
actually trust your future for the next 3 months, we're not getting fined by the NBA. If we get the six odds again, that's because we're relying on MPJ to drop 30 plus points a night. And I said this on Breezy Show. Jordy should not run the offense every night through one player. If you want to get Drake Powell's offensive points up so people can stop saying he needs to work on his offensive game, get him more shot opportunities. If you want Yegor to get more confidence, get him more shot opportunities. That's
maybe he
all
don't
you
know
have
how
to
to get
do.
to. Maybe we giving the rookies way too much. Like they could come in the NBA and do what they want to do.
It's not doing what
I
they want to do. It's
personally,
getting better.
I'll be
think
honest
they
with you, bro. Like, I don't think this is a situation like the Pelicans where they could just throw Fears and throw Queen in a lineup and then be comfortable
right
sitting
because the
Zion.
market is going to stay.
They
It's
market is
already
not built like
washed.
that, bro. Like, here's the thing.
It's already
I don't
washed.
think this is a situation where we definitely not in a Cooper Flag situation where we could throw him
No.
anywhere because he's the number one overall pick and Jason Kidd just said F it, I'm throwing him at the one because you gave up my one last year in Luca, so I gotta find me another one.
Right.
So realistic, I mean, I don't think this is that type of situation. What I think this is a situation where these rookies are gradually, they getting their feet wet. Obviously, Danny Wolf is more ahead of schedule. Drake Powell is slowly. He probably has the reins of being the point of attack defender sooner than later, if not now. Um, Yegor is still kind of the question mark because we know he can't bring up the ball consistently against pressure defense. Ben Saraf is another question mark, and we haven't seen Nolan Traore even hit an NBA court yet. So realistically, bro, like I think it's an interesting situation that we have, but I don't think it's a situation to where like you just go, all right, yo, we gonna take because the thing is, here's the thing about a tank. The NBA clearly, they allow certain teams to tank and they allow certain teams not to tank. They allow that. I truly believe that. Because here's the thing. If these so-called tanking rules now they impede from the teams that's yeah, if you tank on purpose, then we not giving you 1, 2, 3, or 4 or whatever. But if you finish bottom 5, but if you finish at the very bottom, you probably gonna get number 5 because we gave it to the Pistons 4 years in a row because
Yeah,
we
but
didn't want to give them the number 1.
the Hawks are in a scary position where they have the Pelicans pick, and if they do get a top 5 guy to pair with Jalen Johnson, who's looking like a breakout star in the East right now, one of the future breakout stars, they're going to be a dangerous team alongside Detroit and the Magic next year, which even puts us further behind the 8 ball. So this is why tank for a top 4 pick.
I mean, I
I know.
don't.
Wait. It's
I
very
just don't.
important for us
I
because
just.
wait, can I just
We
say
need
one
to
thing,
find a
Lee?
different word from tank, bro, because we're not allowed to.
No,
Clearly,
no, wait. Well, first of all, how can you say we're not allowed to? We've only had one playoff win in 10 freaking years. People are saying that we still have one of the best front office in the league. How so? One playoff win in 10 years. Like, we got to stop with this obnoxious attitude about our front office. They have been making mistake after mistake for multiple years. And it is a miracle that a team as clueless as the Knicks give us 6 picks for a freaking role player. That's not going to happen in the UCB anymore. Like, we've got
Listen,
by on sheer
listen,
luck
listen.
at some points in time.
The Knicks didn't get a playoff win in the same amount of time,
that's
and
a
they
fact.
generate mad money for the NBA.
That's a
They
fact.
generate a lot of money for the NBA.
That's a fact.
So you can't throw it
Last
out
time I checked, bro,
because we
The
didn't.
Lakers ain't been moving the needle, bro, since the bubble.
Yeah,
Bro,
and I
like
mean,
and they generate a lot of money for the NBA too. The Warriors have
yeah.
not been moving the needle since 2022, and they've been generating a lot of money for the NBA, bro. Listen, the thing about it is still in that echelon of column in terms of generating money for the NBA. If they seeing us out there tank, if they seeing us out there tanking, and when we're a top 6 franchise in this league, when the Bulls could have easily did if the Bulls could have easily did it, and but they didn't, and they revived that, bro. It has to be a reason why we're not quote unquote tanking. It has to be a
It's
reason.
Jordy. You want to know the reason? It's Jordy because he told Sean Marks, I'm not playing the game. Just like superstars and role players have had Sean's arms tied behind his back with handcuffs on, Jordy just basically said, I'm running the ship. You're going to let me run the ship. You're not going to do a damn thing about it. Well, he did do little things to tweak it, but trading back for Deal last year, that's what really put us in the crapper because we won extra games we didn't have to win. Yes, we were tanking last year, Leaf, and we missed out on the chance to draft Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, hell, Jeremiah Fears, who wanted to be Brooklyn Net. We knew that Jeremiah Fears stood in Brooklyn for 3 months. He didn't have to, but in his mind,
He
he
still
believes he
might
has got to
be
get
in a
drafted for us. But
trade.
we
He's
got the
still.
eighth pick
Hey,
because we
listen,
didn't do it right. We
John.
didn't do it right.
One thing I noticed about the NBA, and this is true, and I want everybody to really know what I'm saying. You can't project what trades and deals can happen to change the landscape of the NBA. We watched it manifest itself last year with Luca, and it changed the landscape. It literally changed the way things went down. Dallas ended up with the number 1 pick. Shouldn't have even got the number 1 pick. I don't know how that happened, but I'm just saying one trade can actually change everything.
Yeah, I
So,
agree with you, Scott, but this is the thing. People are acting like that the NBA has the front office best interest. I think what Joe Tsai did this past summer with the China relations is him actually trying to tell the NBA, listen, we're going to try to do this right. We're going to be a bottom team, but I'm actually reaching out an olive branch to say, hey, if you're thinking about finagling things, trying to decide who gets those top 3 spots, well, I'm helping you out. But this is my thing, though. You've had multiple years to build trust. with the NBA front office. I'm not saying we had to cheat to do that, but at least put ourselves in favor where, hey, at least we're no less than a top five team. When in actuality, right now as it stands, we're the richest franchise in the bottom of this barrel right now. But if we get a bad spot, a bad odds, and we get a top 6 to 8 pick, that's on us. Not because the NBA doesn't have our back, it's because we haven't done enough to put ourselves in the best position possible. And now people are telling me that MPJ is a number one superstar option. We found our Shea. Somebody literally on Twitter said that MPJ is now our version of Shea Gillis Alexander. What are people smoking right now? Seriously. No, NBA is not watching out for us. Only people who can watch out for us are the guys in charge of the damn thing and what the coach puts out on the floor. It took us a month to tell Jordy to play Noel Clowney at the four, to play Yegor, to eventually start Powell. It's been like pulling baby teeth. But you know what? Things are starting to look a little better on development side. But now people are telling me that Clax and MPJ are leading the new way forward. How so without a franchise guy? If we don't get a top four guy next year, it will set us back unless we go get a big fish. And you don't get a big fish, you are stuck in the middle for who knows how long, no matter your flexibility. So I'm telling you, Scott, the Nets have two directions to go. You either get your franchise guy or you go out and get a big fish next to MPJ. If you choose neither of those directions, we are screwed, to put it bluntly.
Well, something will shake. That's for sure.
We'll
Something
see. I
will.
mean, it's about to start in 3 days.
Yeah, well, something will shake. It ain't gonna be no big moves. There's no big moves to be had.
I don't think. Yeah, I think that the big move, which is
It's gonna
the
be in the
Giannis
all
move, bro. Like
season.
I
It's
think if that move comes,
that'll be the only
I
one.
think that here's the thing. I don't think the Knicks already jumped the gun with the cat trade anyway.
Yeah, they're not thinking about
They
that. They
they already jumped
playing.
the gun last
They
year with the cat
playing.
trade anyway,
They
and then they
playing.
ran into Indiana, bro, and they just exposed them in 6 games. They just exposed them. But my thing with Giannis is the version of Giannis that you want is not the version of Giannis that you're gonna get. It's not the version of Giannis that you're gonna get fully. Yes, he still is a top five player, and it still counts as that. But what we're doing is compare Giannis to himself. That's what we're gonna do. Like, but we're gonna compare any version of Giannis that we get. We're gonna compare him to 2021 Giannis because
If
that's
you
the
have
Giannis that's all that's gonna be remembered in our minds. That 50 point, game clinching, 17 free throw hitting, spinning through the lane, dunking on everybody. 50 points, 17 rebounds, 7 assists, Finals MVP type of. But because here's the thing, the Nets fans are gonna put themselves in the same mode that our franchise is gonna put us in if we go for Giannis, and that's called win or else mode. Yo, we get this player. I'm expecting us to get through the East because the Eastern Conference is pool and this, that, and the third. Da 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 da. Da. I don't think the Eastern Conference is as poor as everybody make it out to be. It's just everybody's looking at the records and comparing it to the West.
Yeah.
That's what it really is.
Yeah, it's
So
still the NBA, right?
yeah, it's still the NBA. So
well,
in reality, no, everybody is looking at the East and looking at the top teams and being and just basically gritting their teeth at the Knicks being a top team, at the Pistons being a top team, and they didn't even win a. The Pistons haven't won a damn playoff series in years,
right,
and
but this is the
somehow
thing
they're a
that the
top
Pistons
team.
have. They got the young core right now, and they're in position to go after an Anthony Davis, a Laurie Markin, or an MPJ because they have multiple picks on their book. When they were doing some of the trade speculation on NBA today, I'm like, damn, Detroit's in a great position. And next year, when Tatum comes back, Boston's still going to be competing and contending. They still have two of the best star duos in the Eastern Conference, so they're going to be up there. Philly, they might have to break up their core of Embiid and George soon because those guys aren't healthy enough to help their backcourt out, which has outperformed the front court. And then you have the Cavs. Listen, the Cavs, they have been the biggest failure of the Eastern Conference this year. This was the year to outperform whatever they have last year. Because last year was a waste of time because they did so bad in the playoffs. But this year, being the only second-paper team, you're supposed to be no less than top two this year. And they are what, 6-7? Like that right there just shows you how wide open this sucker is in the Eastern Conference right now. And just like Leaf's saying, you have two directions. If you're keeping MPJ, you get a star in the draft, or you go get one right now. If not, you still got to get a star in the draft. And if you get neither of those things,
Yeah,
it's
you
going to
got
be
it.
hard for us to compete with those
You
top four
well
teams
there
right now.
we hoping that that'll be a star in the draft. That's what you're saying.
There is, Scott. There is four potential
Be-
stars in this draft. I've done the research. I've seen how they play. There is, and if we are foolish enough to get a top six pick again, Scott, we are going to be set back multiple
you
years
can't
because
say.
MPJ is going to be carried to a play-in spot before
Yeah,
his
no,
back is dry.
I am a realist. When it comes to realization, you have to show me. Because when you get in the NBA, it's a different story. I don't care how you twist it. It's nice to get new. And it's nothing wrong. I'm not putting no shade on the college players. Yeah, they skilled. There's some skilled players. I've seen some. I seen the competition you played too, and it ain't exactly competition. So I don't want to hear that. When you get into NBA, even a losing team got NBA talent on their team. So it's a different dog when you get into the NBA.
Yeah, but
I don't
Scott,
care. It's a different dog. I don't. You can't say it's the
if
same thing.
if
You
the
can't.
Nets want to be a serious team in 2 years, it's not going to be with MPJ Claxton being one or two options. It's getting a star in the draft and
I
hopefully one of the
agree.
five guys he
I
drafted this
agree.
year. If our end game here is that Danny Wolf and one of the
It's
guys you drafted next year are two young stars, and you keep an MPJ, maybe you're competing for something. But this is going to depend on who we draft this summer and next year to put this
whatever.
all together somehow.
You're banking on that one of these five guys that we drafted this past season, this past draft, is going to be an integral part of a championship type caliber team.
At
That's what you're
least,
saying.
at
That
least two out of five of these guys are solid rotation
oh,
guys, and one of them is a
so if
star
it ain't
potentially.
if it ain't two out of them five, then it's a wash. It don't matter.
Well, you still have the young star if Danny Wolf meets that potential, but if Yeager or Powell don't become great rotation guys, then
You
yeah, this draft was part of a failure because you drafted five guys. If I'm drafting five guys, I'm expecting at least three out of five, one to be a star, two to be solid rotation
You
role
didn't.
guys.
You didn't
If
just
not,
draft
then
five
it's
guys.
it's
You drafted
tanker.
five first round picks.
right.
His the thing
Right.
is, bro. Like everybody could say this, bro. Like when you draft five first round picks, that's
Somebody got to
almost
shake.
that's almost like drafting a top 10, like one top five pick.
Right.
It's almost the exact same, bro. Some like because
Some got to shake.
that's a starting lineup in the NBA. Somebody
Right.
has to pan out.
Somebody got to pan out and be averaging over 20 points. I guarantee
And
you
it's
that.
sooner than later, and
And the
it
Now,
only
has to
right.
happen
and the only
sooner than
guys that
later. Because
and
here's
the
the
only
thing: the thing about our market, bro, like, and the thing about what we're doing is that we don't have time. Like that 6 year, let's wait 5 years, like OKC did, and bro. We don't got time for that shit. We don't, bro. Like because this
So,
time next year, we have to compete because somebody has our pick.
yeah, we have
right.
no choice.
And if you keep MPJ, you have to go after some big star option or get in the draft because MPJ's back is not going to hold up fully, carrying the burden that Brooklyn has him on right now.
Knock
One,
on some
it's
wood.
been,
Knock on some
you know,
wood.
listen, I hope all
Knock
for
on
his
some
health, but
wood,
I'm
man.
being a realist here, Scott. I'm not saying, yo, MPJ is going to be this number one star option next 2 or 3 years as he goes through his 30s and these numbers will be consistent. No, for right
That's
now,
what you're
this
gonna hear
season,
if you go to some
wait,
other
I
channel,
know,
bro.
I know. Belief. We all knew this year. We all wait. Let me just finish. We all knew this year that MPJ at least would be a temporary star option for us. But the goal was if you draft a young franchise guy in the draft, or hell, make a big move for a big fish, this guy slides down to an easy potential number two, or at the very most realistic, a number three option. He's not getting no $40 million to come back in 2 years, and that's if he still wants to play the game of basketball. But if he's consistent these next 2 years and we need a third option, I'm paying this guy at least between $25 to $28 million to be a third option. I'm not paying him no $40 million. This is why, if you're going to keep MPJ, The expectation is either that stars in the draft or you're going after somebody big because there's no reason to keep a guy with back surgeries around to carry a crazy burden and get you nowhere anytime soon. So the Nets have some important decisions to make not only this trade deadline, but next summer because that's when you're starting the construction of somewhat of a winning team. But it has to
I
make
think
sense.
I
It
wanted to
has to
speak
make
on I wanted to
sense.
speak on just in terms of the basketball field that you see certain players have when they come here. In terms of like they know what they're doing right away the second that they hit the court, no matter what the X's and O's look like. I get that feeling. I got that feeling from Danny Wolf the second that I seen that Milwaukee game. I got that feeling right then and there, bro. I didn't get that feeling from Yegor because he's 19. Everybody want to say, yo, he's only 19. I ain't trying to hear that shit. I didn't get that feeling from Drake Powell. I didn't get that feeling from nobody else. I got that feeling from Danny Wolf. And you sort of get that feeling from past Nets players like Jason Kidd, like Kevin Durant, like Kyrie, like James Harden, bro. Like you sort of get that, and I think when you're playing in a market like this, in a city like this, and if the media can't pick on the Knicks, then guess what? They're gonna pick on us, especially if we don't get the job done, bro. Like right now, the Knicks are the top commodity because they just came out of the Eastern Conference Finals, and everybody was throwing Franks when they was winning in Boston and throwing garbage cans on Pacers players,
Yeah, they were
and it
beating
all
them up.
backfired because here's the thing about Knicks fans: they don't know how to act when they win.
Nope.
They don't know how to
Right.
behave. They don't.
And,
They don't know how to be civilized. They and this
right.
and the NBA sees that and they'll be like, "Yo, you really want us to have a parade, bro, in June, bro, in this place, bro?" Like, and guess what? Since we're in the almost simultaneously in the same backyard, they basically put you. They basically like it's basically almost like conjoined twins the way the NBA look at it. So you gotta really put in place about how some of these things work. Everybody thinks that the NBA is just let's throw the ball out there and see who's the best team. No, that's not what it is. Now, like a large percentage of the times, bro, like it could be on
Yeah.
the games that you're not seeing. It could be, but now that Vegas is involved, now that money is involved, now that extra streaming dollars is involved, now
Yeah.
that you got the FBI involved, man, because you just seen what happened to Chauncey Billups earlier this year.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Money.
saying, bro?
Money is
Like we
involved.
all know about 2002 Western Conference Finals. We could go all the way back to that, bro. Like the NBA is not let's just throw the ball out there and see who's the best team.
Now
And
I
I
have
and
a.
I segue, and the reason why I segue to that is because there's a reason outside of Jordy wants to win. Outside of Jordy wants to win. There is a larger reason
Hmm.
as to why we're not sitting at the very bottom of the damn league. Outside of the fact that Jordy wants to win, there's a very good reason because I think the NBA is paying a lot more attention to us than they are to New Orleans and Washington and Charlotte because they're gonna give these teams top picks and they still gonna keep effing them up
But
anyway.
it would be screwy if they give the Sacramento Kings AJ DeBosta or Darren Peterson because that team had one decent little playoff moment, and that was it for them. They had literally had De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton and let both of them go for nothing, essentially. So it's
Right.
like you cannot justify that. This is my thing. If that's the case, then you better get a big fish soon because if you're missing out the opportunity in 2 years when you got your own picks back to not draft potential top franchise guys, then what the hell were we doing? Giving the
So
Rockets all those valuable picks in the first place. So I
so
agree, Leaf, that there is something that is potentially causing them to not fully do this. But at the end of the day, you haven't done anything the last 10 years to justify you being this big man on campus other than Joe Tsai having all these technology and different sports deals
I
going on to make us $1 billion corporation.
I hundred
That's what
percent
it is.
agree, but at the same time, bro, we gotta understand, like these plays, bro, are in play for a reason, bro. I'm one of them dudes, bro. I sit back and I watch the forensic files and FBI and Law and Order and shit like that, bro. Like I can't help it, bro. I was raised by a conspiracy theorist. I really was, bro. Like, and if you want to say it was passed down to me, then go ahead. The if AJ DeBonsa ends up in Utah, we all know, bro, that this play is not no bullshit ass play. We all know that what I've been trying to tell people is 100,000% real. If AJ DeBonsa ends up with the Utah Jazz after
Oh
playing in the
man.
state of Utah for his entire basketball life, then we know what I'm trying to tell you is 100,000% real.
Tatum and
If the
Brown
Boston
2.0 in the
Celtics,
West. I
if the
can't.
Boston Celtics finish below 6 in the East and they get a higher pick than us and they have a better record than us, we all know what this means. We all know that I was not bullshitting. We
I'll
all
tell
know
you.
that. If the Oklahoma City Thunder, because of the Clippers, get a top 5 pick before we do, we all know that this is not bullshit.
Right, right.
There's a
Believe
reason
people.
why the Knicks didn't get Zion, bro. Like, and they finished bottom of the league.
Well, the
The
good thing is
NBA chooses this shit.
the good thing right now with Boston is they're winning a lot right now. And the Bulls, they just fell off the face of the earth. Because honestly, I'm so happy that they gave Giddy all that money to be a pretend franchise guy. They start off 5-0. Look at them now. They are struggling and going down right now in the cement as we speak. Like literally, that is what is saving Boston from taking it all. And if they're out of this
Why
line,
you playing quiet as kept? Quiet as kept? Why you playing, John? Now that the
Mhm.
Bulls is under, bro, we gotta remember they one of the 5 franchises that's above us in terms of net rating,
All
in terms
right,
of net
right.
worth.
Oh
So
damn,
so
that.
so so so
Damn.
so don't be too happy to say that the Bulls are struggling because guess what? The NBA could pull a hat trick and be like, "Hey, Michael Jordan actually got on NBC and did a lot of interviews for us since we got back on the NBA on NBC. Let's
Right.
help the Bulls
Man,
out and let's create
yo,
the and let's get the Bulls back on a lot of TV games on NBC and on Peacock and let's get Michael Jordan to get some more interviews for us and let's keep pushing the Chicago Bulls
man,
and let's bring the Bulls and the Knicks back. Let's bring the Knicks and the Heat back.
damn.
Let's bring the Knicks
Please,
and the Pacers back because Halliburton is going to be healthy next year. Let's get
that
him a team.
he's.
Let's get Indiana some
You,
picks. Bruh, listen, it is a plot. It is a
I,
big time
I,
plot, and the
I,
Nets do not fit in that plot.
I tell you this. Listen. I'll admit this. Listen, we all agree that the Bulls have been a clueless organization for 3 years. They could have rebuilt years ago, and they did, and they gave Justin. I agree that now, if since they do have a slight better net rating, they are actually a team to get the Bonster on the team because he is the athlete that some people look at Jordan and go, man, this kid could maybe be on a level of that one day, given what he does. But that would just suck, man, because AJ DeBosa would fit on a team like Brooklyn because we have never had no franchise guy in Brooklyn Nets history that's homegrown, which is how upsetting to me. But Leaf just brought
You
an
know what I
interesting
need to
point.
know,
The
bro? I just
Bulls
need
are
anybody.
actually in a decent position right now to get a top pick. That
I
sucks.
just need to
That
know.
sucks.
This is what I need to know.
Go ahead.
Are there realistic handwritten NBA rules against tanking?
Well, it's
I,
supposed to be.
Is there?
It was supposed. I mean, they.
Because why do I feel like the NBA is trying to get a whole bunch of talent for all of these teams that to be old 90s rivalries again? Watch Indiana get a top pick before we do, and they're clearly tanking, bro. And watch, I didn't think the Indiana Pacers was going to go from the finals to the basement of the league.
Right.
they still
I
have
didn't
their
think
young
nobody
stars,
had
though.
that
That's the thing.
happening, bro. Like I didn't think that was gonna happen. Nobody,
They
but
still have
like the
Halliburton, though.
Boston Celtics, if they finish in the play-in, we're looking at a team that the NBA could go, oh, yo, you know what? Boston has did a lot for us over the past years in the 20th century. So let's do something for them, man. Let's give them something. I mean, the Nets is really not even our team anyway. They came from the ABA. I mean, why give them something over Boston when we supposed to keep Boston alive and relevant?
I think
Well,
they. I think.
Let's give something
That's
to
if
the
they're in the
Bulls.
lottery. They're
I
out of the
think they
lottery
look.
right
I
now.
think they look at the numbers. I think they look at the
Yeah,
numbers.
they look at the numbers.
They looking at the numbers.
They're looking at teams that's helping them get more money. And mind you, we're in front of Boston in terms of net worth.
Yeah.
And
Right,
they're
but here's the
still
thing
gonna
though,
give
Boston.
Boston more leeway than us.
Well, that's just it, though. As long as the Raptors starting to crap out a bit too. As long as the Raptors and Bulls keep falling like they are right now, Boston should be fine as being out of the lottery. I would be relieved as long as they're out of the lottery. Listen, the Bulls, it sucks a bit, but at the end of the day, you have to remember who's actually going to get the winning pieces to a team. Is it the Bulls or is it Brooklyn? At least we've shown we're willing to make those big moves. The Bulls, their biggest move was signing Josh Giddey to a lot of money, and he can't even lead them out of a playing spot.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I
that's
mean,
some
listen.
logic right there. I gotta ask
Here's
them.
the real reason why I don't think the NBA is giving us a top five pick, regardless, even if we do finish in the bottom of the league, is because of this front office. They
I
don't
agree.
trust this
I
front
agree.
office.
I agree. I agree. They have really screwed up the bed the last 10 years, Sean Marks and Josiah. They really have, and that's why the NBA don't owe them no favors. If you're not giving me a consistent record of winning habits, listen, financially, everybody likes that when you're doing well financially, but it's the results. You got to get me more than one playoff win. And you had Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden on one team. And you could not keep them together for more than a year, regardless of the COVID crap and all that. There was a way to potentially to figure that out. And guess what? Sean traded James Harden for Ben freaking Simmons. And then everybody's like, oh crap. We gave him all those TV. Remember the TV slots they had, Leaf? It was like, what, 20, 30 games? That went in the crapper. That just got erased. But here's the thing. They paid for those slots for the Brooklyn Nets. That was money the NBA lost when they broke that whole thing up. And you think they were going to forget that?
Yeah,
No. That's the
no.
problem with Sean and Joe. They have a sloppy record and everybody remembers it.
So they want control now. That's what it is. They don't want superstars to have control of the team. That being said, where do Cam Thomas plays into this? And
I'm so
are they gonna trade him before the trade line is over?
I'm I'm so glad you brought this up because I wanted to segue into the Cam Thomas. Jordy recently was interviewed by NBA Media, and I got the quote right here. Which honestly, me and Leaf, I don't know if Leaf read it yet, but I read it. It's a very clear cut answer. This is what he said. He said, "That's a good question. The context is different. Before Cam got hurt, obviously his superpower was the ability he had to score. At the same
Right,
time, we always want to see playmaking efficiency and improvement on defense. So all
right.
those things were important at the time. Now he's been out. The team continues to get better and play in a good way. The skill set, he's very unique and very good at what he does. But at the same time, now the group is taking positive steps. For the most part, I'm very happy with the whole group. And now when he comes back, it's going to be on me to figure out how we introduce him into the group and thinking that the most important thing is it's always
It's
the
the
group.
team, the
So,
group.
so
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think Jordy even knows as much as he liked Cam's superpowers, Cam's lack of durability, and his inability for him and his agent to agree on a contract long term with the Nets, or at least middle term. Once he signed a qualifying offer, it's literally a divorce. And now you're just waiting for the papers to be finalized. Next week is interesting because the one team that does make sense for Cam Thomas are the Clippers. The Clippers are a crap mess of an organization. The Chris Paul, who signed there to retire, he's now out the door, but they have to trade him somewhere. If I'm looking at the best potential fit of the least worst scenarios, Chris Paul in 2 seconds for Cam Thomas literally works
Hell
for both
no.
sides. They get a scoring piece, we get a mentor and some picks, and I think that's all you can leave it at. I mean, Leaf, I know Leaf. Chris Paul has some issues with what he says to people, but he's also has leadership. He's been to the dance. He didn't win a title, but he's been in the playoffs multiple years. He can help our young guards at least with the knowledge he can pass on before he hangs up the
I,
shoes. But honestly, that looks like the best deal right now because not a lot of teams are giving up anything for Cam Thomas unless they need his offense. And the Clippers, they need something outside of James Harden and Kawhi right now. So for me, that's a deal that works right now, and it lets the Nets and Cam end this messy divorce, which is now just carrying on water for no reason at this point.
the reason why I say hell no to that, but because on both ends, to me, I think both assets basically they don't do what they intended to do on the said trade. The Chris Paul is not he's not a leader by speaker. He's a leader by example. Go back to 2020 in the bubble when he played with that OKC team. He led by example because he started and he led that team to a playoff spot. He led by example during that time, bro. Chris Paul off the court doesn't do anything for you. He's just talking, and people are gonna look at him like, "You ain't got no championship. What are you talking to me for?" That's his thing, bro. Like that, and that's the reality. I bullshit you not. That is the ghost reality of who Chris Paul is. If Chris Paul is not on the court, showing and leading by example, which he cannot do anymore at the age of
Which you
40,
can't do.
which he
No,
cannot do at the age of 40 anymore.
no, he
And
can't
like
do.
it's 2020 or like it's 2021 with the Suns when he led them to the finals, bro. Like he is no good. He is just a little itty bitty yes man.
No, Leaf,
That's all
listen, I
he
understand
is.
I understand Paul has the baggage, but for what we are looking for right now, Chris Paul is one of those vets that the net I wish the Nets would have looked at. Not him specifically, but a vet that at least has multiple years of playoff experience. He's near the end of his career, literally. And for us right now, we're lacking that voice to at least help the young guys. There was a problem with Chris Paul signing with the Clippers. That roster is so dang old. They don't want a guy hooting and hollering at them, telling them they have to play better, do this better, when none of them really give a damn about playing better. Boy, we're just rookies on the team right now that want to get better every single day. And for Yegor, this is really more for Yegor to have a guy like Chris Paul to really help elevate his game. That to me would be the biggest asset we get in this deal. Is at least somebody that can help a Yegor, help a Powell, hell, a Nolan Trayor, or even Danny Wolf, are all guards in some shape or form with their playmaking, elevate their games. I mean, Scott, it's the best deal of worst case scenarios because Cam Thomas right now I'm hearing is worth at least a second round pick. At least with this deal, you get two picks and you get a vet to help mentor these young guys. I think for me, that's the best of a worst case situation because everything I'm hearing is that Cam Thomas trade value is really in a bad spot right now because of his lack of durability and the
But
fact he's only making $6
I
million.
don't think I
dollars.
don't think I don't think it's really all. Well, some of it is his lack of availability. That's for sure. It's not all on Cam Thomas though. That's on the Nets because his value is bad. This guy averaged almost 20 something points a game. And you mean to tell me his value is bad? That's on
It's it,
you. That's on the
his
Nets. Because
offense has never been the problem. It's
you
everything else.
drafted him though. You drafted
Yeah, but they
him.
didn't. They didn't have to though. I always wondered why draft another scoring guard when you already had Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. Wouldn't you want a wing, a center like at that time? Instead, we got another scoring guard. You know why? Because Kevin Durant wanted another young guard that could help carry the weight when he needs a 10, 15-minute break on the bench. That was literally it. You saw how Kevin Durant looked at Cam like his young pupil, his student. And then when
So can
KD
well
left,
so
Cam became
so
disposable to Sean Marks.
would you say Cam Thomas is a great bench player?
At the very best, that's what his career is looking like. Because if you can't play 20 if you can't play 25 to 30 minutes a night because of your durability issues, the best you can do is 15 to 20 as a sixth man, which
Yeah.
Cam Thomas has the ability to knock down shots. I keep saying to Breeze, and he's come around a little bit, at least with Cam being integrated back into this, if he is still on this team after next Monday, is that he'd have to be a sixth man because the starting unit without him have gotten slightly better on defense. Offensively, there is some type of system, even though it's being ran solely through MPJ with a little Clax, Clowney, and rookies in between. That was better than what you had with Cam just shooting a lot of shots and everybody else just staying in the corner shooting one or two shots every time
But to
Cam runs
be
the ball up the court.
but to be fair, did it translate to wins?
Against bad teams, yeah, but against the best teams, no, of course. But that's the
Oh,
goal is
okay.
to not win a lot of games this year. But
So
here's my
then,
thing.
so now my thing was, I'm not to cut you off. My whole thing was with Cam is the situation where he can do his superpower and bring his value up is based on being on a good team, not a bad team. Because if you tanking, well, I hate to use that word tank, but then he's never going to show. Nobody cares about a losing team.
No, that's a fair point, but that's why with Cam Thomas, if he is going somewhere else, which looks very likely, he's going to have to likely accept a six-man shot unless he wants to go on a team that is still tanking and still lacks a direction. A lot of the
Right.
best teams right now have their starting units figured out, but a lot of teams wish they had an elite six guy that can drop 25 to 30 points like Cam Thomas has shown he can do. But it's up to Cam to accept that deal, to lessen his minutes. But still, if he's running a second unit, you could have the guys, the bench pieces, to protect his weaknesses on defense, to help expand his playmaking somewhat because they're what are they, specialist bench pieces, right? And Cam is your focal point off the bench. That works on this team. It could work, but it just feels like the damage in 4 years has been done. This organization never once saw Cam Thomas as an integral piece or even a bench piece. And for Jordan, based on what he said in the court, I read to, he's like, listen, I'm happy to have Cam back, but still playmaking, defense, still not there. And he has to do what's in the best interest of this new group I've constructed. And that said a lot to me about Jordy. Jordy was the one who vouched for Cam to even start last year, but even now he's going, well, if I'm having to build a winning formula, it just seems like Cam as a starter, there's not winning going on there, but as a bench piece, maybe that protects his weaknesses. But Cam would have to accept that, which is a demotion in his mind because he's only 23 years old. But Scott, he's got at least 3 to 4 years left to figure out what type of role he wants on the team. But the NBA and other people seem to have that answer for him, but he's in denial of that, respectfully. But I just don't see Cam being anything more than a six-man right now because he's not healthy enough to have a starter's job, especially being a multi-scoring point guard of any sort. So, yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of walls around Cam. In order for him to knock them down, he has to compromise within himself his own role. And if it's a six-man, he's making $18, $20 million, dropping 20 to 30 points, why would he not want to roll like that? That's the thing that irks me about Cam Thomas is you clearly are an elite scorer, but everything else about your game is not elite. So wouldn't you rather have a solid role where you're still helping a team compete for something, dropping your points, you're making slightly less money than what you'd want, but you're still an integral piece. You're just not a starting piece. And it just
Right.
mind boggles me that Cam and his agent were so dead set on believing that one of these 10 teams next year is going to automatically give him the 25 to $30 million salary he so wants when he's only played what, 8 games this year?
Yeah.
I
Plus,
don't know, Scott. That
not
don't
not
make a lot of
to
sense.
not to mention the CBA is totally different. Yeah. So
Right?
it makes it
Exactly.
it makes it difficult to
Very difficult.
yeah. I can agree with that. You know.
Yeah,
I
and
hope that he somehow I think, being a fan, from a fan perspective, I hope that he can get back on the team. I mean, stay on the team and play a role on this team. But that being said, if you do leave, I hope you go someplace where you can get your talent off and prove people wrong, because I think he can. I think he can. I really do believe he can. I think it's a lot to do with, you know, the way the Nets handle your situation was kind of unfair. You when you came into the team, it was difficult because you seen how many coaches since he been here? Three,
Like
four,
it's three, yeah,
yeah, three
three,
coaches,
four.
COVID, three superstars leave, turmoil, all this, and you didn't get a fair shake.
Right.
So it is what it is. Come back and bust Brooklyn's ass. That's all.
and
And
that's a Scott truth right there for you, ladies
uh,
and gentlemen.
prove
But I,
prove them wrong, like you
yeah,
did all the time.
Like, yeah, I wish the best for Kim no matter how this situation
Yeah.
ends. But honestly, I believe that for him, if he wants to still be in the NBA, you have to accept the six-man role, which is not bad. I think six men are so underrated in the NBA, Scott. Everybody looks at the stars, but in the new CBA, like you said, you're lucky to have one superstar and a lot of great depth pieces. And Cam Thomas, if he was a six-man, he's arguably the third most important scorer on the team. So why wouldn't you rather make the 18, 20 mil, be that six man, still get your points off, and you're an integral part of the team? I get everybody thinks they're going to get $40 million if they're starting in the NBA. But in this new CBA era, the only guys getting the 40, 50, even now 60, 70 as the cap goes up the next few years are superstar franchise guys. And Cam Thomas, everything else about his game outside of scoring is not franchise worthy. And that's a sad truth, but it's a truth I hope he accepts before he's in a situation where he's forced to do what Dennis Schroeder had to do, which was play in Euro and somehow find my way back to the NBA. I don't want that
Right.
for Cam. But
Right.
if he's this, I want to say arrogant, but this bullheaded, believing he still has a shot to have this dream of his, adjust your dream. You can still be an integral part of a team. It's just you have to eventually talk to your agent about what's going to keep me in the NBA, not what's going to keep me from reaching a potential in
I
the
think
NBA. And
I
I think that's what he
honestly
needs to
speaking,
start.
I think him having his ability to choose where he wanted to go was real important. And I
Right.
think to him, I don't even think it was the money. You know, he ain't. I mean, yeah, of course, yeah, you want more money, but what I'm saying is the main thing was he wanted to be wanted, and he wanted to be where he wanted to be. Those were the two things to him that
Right.
was important. I don't think it was the $40 million because
No,
I
I think
know I don't think he knew. I knew he didn't think he was getting $40 million, but
Right, but if that's what how we want to enter negotiations, it's almost like the last 3 years you thought the Twins were going to get you a superstar. That blew up in the front office faces, Sean Marks and Joe's faces. So Cam's like, listen, I'm still dropping a lot of points. I was the best guy that year. I'm in a position at least to get $30 million, but the organization never once saw him as that guy. And for Cam, it's frustrating. Listen, if you're a young guy having some of the best scoring points in the whole league, more than superstars or role players who have all-star nods. I have zero, and I'm busting all your asses. Of course, I'm going to think of myself as a high player worth that type of money, but unfortunately, that's the thing. Cam hasn't done this for 20, 25 games in the last 4 or 5
that's
years of his
fair.
career.
That's fair.
That's the
That's
thing.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's
that
fair.
was against him, and right now it's just looking like a divorce is in the best interest of both parties, and that could start as soon as next Monday. And I bring up the Clippers because they're the only team right now that literally
But
outside of James.
Chris Paul would not help us though.
No, no, I'm not saying that this guy's going to do anything crazy. If he might get bought out and sign somewhere else. I'm saying this will literally be a switch of salaries and us getting at least 2 picks, even though they're second picks, and at least getting something for Kim as opposed to nothing, and he walks for nothing, and you really screwed yourself there. But in this case,
Yeah.
the Clippers are the only team that needs some type of youthful offense. Their roster's too old. The Powell swap for Bradley Beal was an epic failure of epic proportions. They're one team that desperately needs Cam, and if Cam could help them even crawl out or crawl close to being out of this lottery, I will take a trade like that every day, even if Chris Paul's here or not, because the Nets need OKC out of this lottery any means possible. And the Clippers still have time. They're only 3 games out of a 10th playing seed. So whatever we could send to them for them to crawl themselves out, I'm
Well,
open to that at this point.
OKC eventually can't pay everybody, and they will have to let people go. So don't
Right.
worry about it. Don't worry
Right, but
about
they should
it.
get no top 10 pick. But besides the Clippers, another team that might be interested in Cam are the Magic. They've been playing good, but Franz and Paulo, they keep getting injured when they come back healthy, and it's like they might need another scoring insurance in case one of their top guys goes down. And they have Jed Howard, who did not sign an extension this year. He's an unrestricted free agent, I believe. So if they want to pair Jed Howard and some seconds to us for Cam Thomas, that's another deal I'm open minded to. Reunites Jed Howard with his father, Juwan Howard, a little
Right.
family
Yeah.
fun story there. And he's a young piece that maybe the Nets give a tryout period for the next few months. That's another deal. And a third team, the Rockets. Again, Kevin Durant, that relationship with Cam Thomas, I believe, is still as strong as it's ever been. And as good as they've been right now, I think at the end of the day, they've been looking at how that kid, Reed Shepard's been doing. And I think he's been okay. But between him and Cam Thomas, who's a guy that could be an elite sixth man on a Rockets team that's literally trying to do everything they can to take out the OKC Godzilla force right now. And I think Cam Thomas would fit on the Rockets behind Kevin Durant as a sixth
Right.
man. It's just what would they be willing to give up to us? That 2027 swap. I mean, if they want to protect it, okay, but if they give us that back for Cam, that's another deal I'm open to. So I feel like the Rockets, the Clippers, and Magic might be 3 top destinations for Cam potentially. And the most realistic one right now looks like the Clippers because they need anything right now to put
Yeah.
behind James and Kawhi at this point. So I feel like that's the best divorce scenario the Nets could come up with the Clippers at this point. So we'll see.
Oh.
But that
Yeah.
might happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, John. Where they can reach you at, John?
Great discussion tonight, Scott. Brooklyn based, December 15th, 3 days away. Trade deadline's about to start. We're hearing the Giannis, Anthony Davis, our
Yeah,
own team. There's a lot of rumors going on, and hopefully at the end of this, the Nets will be in a better position to draft the top franchise guy and move forward. But if you ever want to talk fun basketball, follow me on Twitter, Everything Beacon as John, because I create fun Brooklyn Nets content, whether you like it or respond to it. At the end of the day, you respond to the content.
that's right. That's right. Thanks everybody. I'd like to thank Leaf and John for joining me, and everybody in the chat. Thank you. Peace and love. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow. The Nets play. Who they play tomorrow? They play the
We
Pacers.
play Dallas. No, we play
Dallas,
Dallas.
right?
Cooper
Dallas.
Flag, our first look at Cooper, man.
First look, and I believe we play here too, right? We play home.
Yeah, and then Sunday we face the Milwaukee Bucks. These are the
Right,
games that were added on because of the in-season tournament.
right,
So these are our
right,
two extra games on
right,
schedule. So we'll see what
right, right,
happens.
right. I'm gonna have a pre-game show for the next game, so look for it. Thank you. Peace and love. Peace.
Peace.